It is Fan Madness Part 2, thanks to George McCord at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law and our great friends at Coors Light. Come on down throughout the day. We'll be here through 7 o'clock tonight. Isaac and Sue going to take over right after we get done at 3 o'clock. And the simulators, there's room on the simmies right now. Take in all the hoops. The Lady Beavs are playing right now, currently trailing Notre Dame 29-25 in the second quarter of the Albany Regional. Notre Dame on a 7-0 run. Oregon State can't seem to hold on to the basketball. 11 turnovers.
When you pile up 11 turnovers in essentially a quarter and a half,
it's not good, Bob.
That's not great. And Notre Dame's obviously up only 4 right now, but they've capitalized. Well, they haven't actually capitalized. They have 11 turnovers that they've had opportunities to score on, but they've only generated 10 points. So the Beavs, Lady Beavs, got to nail it down.
Yep. If you want to take a gander, we are on YouTube.com/1080am The Fan, Twitch TV /1080am The Fan. I trimmed down. I've got the mustache, and I have a mustache today. I trimmed it down.
It is totally mustached out.
It is mustached out. I don't have the stubble around it. I shaved it down, and I did it in honor of the magnificently dirty stash, reminiscent of Larry Bird because of its wispiness, and it's got a little bit of blonde hue to it. Grant Nelson at the University of Alabama.
It's a wonderful stash.
I had to pay homage to his dirty stash because that man single-handedly sunk the North Carolina Tar Heels last night. Not over the course of the game. It wasn't a completely one-man show. But at the end of that game, that final minute, you cannot ask for much better play from your big than what they got from Grant Nelson. That dude captured my heart. He looks so Alabama it hurts, even though he's from the great state of North Dakota. But he looks like if you were to say, hey, this dude is a star basketball player at the University of Alabama,
yep,
Grant Nelson is exactly who would come to mind.
No, absolutely, and that's what's the fun part of the tournament is you get these characters, you get these guys. Remember the Shabazz Napier run that essentially threw him into LeBron's face, where he was like, that guy, you got to draft that guy.
Yeah.
Got to draft that guy.
Miami Heat.
And you get these opportunities. You get Tyler Kolek, who, for Marquette, we'll see tonight or this afternoon, who is, I'm pretty sure is just Steve Blake thrown in an anti-aging machine.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a great comp right there.
Professional. Everybody in Portland remembers Portland Steve Blake. Go back and watch Maryland Steve Blake. National champion Maryland Terrapins, Steve Blake, Juan Dixon, Chris Wilcox. That team was nasty, but Steve and Colt it's like one and the same. And you get these guys that pop out and make these runs, and it's going to be interesting to kind of see who shows out today. You've got the big names in college basketball, the likely presumptive player of the year in Zach Edey, going up against Gonzaga.
Well, he won player of the year.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I should say the tournament player of the year. Their player of the
most
tournament.
Outstanding player
Thank
of
you.
the tournament.
He's putting up, 26 and 17? I hear those are pretty good numbers in the NCAA tournament.
I've heard.
So you kind of wonder who's going to be that guy today. I think my betting money is going to be on Dalton Connect, Tennessee.
Yeah,
that's going to be the interesting one because I think he kind of fits that mold of being a guy that becomes a cult hero instantly.
Sure, but last night it was about the upsets that we saw in Alabama. First of all, Alabama won that basketball game. They 100% did, and Grant Nelson played out of his gourd.
But North Carolina also went brain dead.
OptaStats has this one. Over the last 25 seasons across the NBA, WNBA, and Division I men and women's, okay, there have been 350,000 players that have scored more than 20 points, 250,000 that have had 10 or more rebounds, 20,000 have added 5 or more blocks to that, 40,000 with 10 or more free throws, 1.1 million with a 60% field goal percentage or better, and then 250,000 have gone over 100% from three. Only one player in the last 25 seasons in any level of basketball, Division I men's, women's, WNBA, NBA, Grant Nelson.
It's a good night.
Last night, he went 6 of 9 from the field, 2 of 2 from three, had 24 points, 12 rebounds, 5 blocked shots. a steal and an assist in the win, and no block shot was as important as not the last one where he missed his free throw and ended up blocking that shot, which is a very headsy play by him. I mean, there's very small chance that heave goes in, but to just end it right there and have the awareness to get your hands up. No, it was the drive through the lane with about, what was that, 40 seconds to go, and he just whap right out of bounds. And at that point, I was like, there's no way North Carolina's winning this game, because with a minute to go, up one, they shoot a three-pointer.
15 seconds on the clock.
With 15 on the shot clock.
I have no idea. Like, I want college basketball to play faster, particularly better teams with better guys that have better athletes, that have more NBA players, whatever the case may be. And that's kind of the weird thing about North Carolina is they probably are lacking that this year. Harrison Ingram's really the only guy.
Just an ill-advised three.
Yeah, and R.J. Davis just had the worst night of nights. I mean, going 4 of 20, nice. 0 for 9 from 3, though.
Well, and just that 0 for 9, it matched Caleb Love at Arizona. He went 0 for 9 as well. I saw that stat pop up that in any single day of the NCAA tournament, we have not had two guys go 0 for 9 from 3. And it was robbing us of the matchup of Caleb Love versus R.J. Davis in the Elite Eight.
Is that the Arizona rubbing off on North Carolina, or the North Carolina rubbing off on Arizona?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Because they've got their little the feud going. Caleb Love obviously transferring from North Carolina over to Arizona, and we wanted to see that matchup. But Arizona does exactly what Arizona does every single year, and they lose to a team that they have no business losing to. The Arizona is that one team that you can't rationalize it, because they've done it with the end of Lute Olson. They did it with Sean Miller. Now they're doing it with Lloyd. Tommy Lloyd's teams, they have all of the pieces, and it doesn't matter who is there, whether it's Lauri Markkanen or DeAndre Ayton, or
it's in their DNA.
Now with Ballo, it doesn't matter who the big is, who the dominant players. They always have a good big. They always have stellar guard play, and you sit there and you're like, all right, this might be the year for Arizona. And they continually disappoint year after year.
Is it too much sun?
I don't know, man. It is. It's something in the water there. It might be too much sun. It might be something in the water in Tucson. But it's so weird to me that you have these teams that no matter who the coach is, no matter what the players are,
they find a way to
They
choke.
will continually let you down.
It's
in
interesting.
The biggest moments and the biggest stages, because Arizona is a really good basketball team. Like there was a time where you were sitting there looking at Arizona going, that's a 1 seed.
Yeah.
That is a 1-seeded team. But they're on the 2 line because, again, at the end of the year in the Pac-12 tournament, they fall short. And then in the NCAA tournament, they run out of gas like they do every single year.
I was talking to a couple guys that went to Arizona about this team, and they all kind of had the feeling that they're not fraudulent, but win a game, and that's probably a successful tournament because inside that program, nobody really believed in this team. As weird as that is. And I think that's a problem that it's not just, like you said, it goes through multiple coaching staffs. It goes through multiple eras. I think there's something weirdly wrong at the core of the program. And whether or not that's, within the university and the direction there, or the AD, or there's just something wrong deep in the core of that program that, despite all the talent, despite recruiting incredibly well, and despite being productive, it's not like they fall on their face in the regular season. They fall on their face in the postseason.
Well, let's go. You can go in the NFL, their equivalent is the Buffalo Bills. In the NBA, I think you could put the 76ers up there. Like, just think of whether it was the Allen Iverson run, whether it's the current run that they're
Ben
at.
Simmons, not taking the layup. There's always something. That's fair. It's wildly successful at falling short all the time.
Baseball, you can go. I think the first team that pops into my head is the San Diego Padres, where you're like, no matter how good their roster is, no matter the era, you think that they are going to get to that point. You think that this is going to – they have all of the talent. They could make that run. They just can't do it, and they cannot put it together.
There's just
whether it's
something in
injuries or just running into a buzzsaw in the postseason. Like, we have these teams across sports, and it's like college football. That may be – I mean, that's a tough one to kind of figure out because of just how college football is structured. Because, I mean, for the longest time, it was, Clemson. I mean, Oregon has been to 2 national championship games, and they have fallen. But, they've in college football, you also have New Year's Six Bowls where you win those bowl games, and, that kind of quiets a little bit of that. And that's what makes it harder to kind of find that who is that team in college football that is just right on the cusp. And that may be Oregon. But
it was Clemson
getting over the hump, but then you win New Year's Six Bowls, right? And that kind of eases that. I think we'll probably find that in a 12-team playoff in college football.
Yeah,
like
the team that's just consistently just there, but not able to get there,
not quite get over that hump.
Win a
and
game in the playoff.
Job.
Like that's their thing is that when they get there, they win a game.
Yeah,
but they never are able to get beyond that.
Yeah, I think that
Texas.
team will start to. It might be Texas, but then again, I mean, within the last, it's almost been 20 years now that we've had the Vince Young game. They won a national title within the last 20 years.
That's true. They do have the one.
Yeah,
A&M.
I mean, Texas A&M.
That's the one.
That might be
the one
where they're just so talented. And you're like, how can you not put the whole thing together? But everybody else seems to do it. And look, I mean, in a 12-team playoff, could it eventually be Oregon? Yeah, it could be. But Texas A&M is a really good one.
I like that one.
But we just have in every sport we have these teams that
they don't know how to win.
Point, closing time, they just can't. They can't slam the door. And look, Arizona's the last team to win a Pac-12 national title in 1997, right?
And they've had some good teams since then.
They've had some teams that should be national championship caliber teams. Several national championship caliber teams. You just can't get over the hump, and we can officially say all of the eggs are in the Gonzaga basket for the West Coast to win a national title again. We had San Diego State lose last night. Arizona lost last night. The last West Coast team standing for all of our pride are the Gonzaga Bulldogs against Zach Edey and Purdue tonight.
Bum, 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 bum.
Purdue could enter that conversation
as
they lost
team?
to a 16 seed. If they lose in the Sweet 16 this year to a team in Gonzaga that isn't necessarily their year. All right.